The program is still Good Morning Abuja, and it's time for us to have a very interesting conversation now. One that borders on something that concerns everybody. Yes, we're talking about public health, how to get public health, and how we are able to extend this to the universal coverage of health itself. This morning, I'm going to be having this conversation with Dr. Ayodele Bankole James, who is the Registrar and CEO of African Institute of Public Health Professionals. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yes. And of course, we are joined by the lovely and beautiful Beta Owakwe, who is also the Director of Membership Services, African Institute of Public Health Professionals. Thank you for coming on the
Yeah, thank
program.
you very much.
Yes. Generally, we Nigerians, we know how important we treat our health. Unfortunately, there are issues that arises that sometimes put this desire for a healthy body, mind, and state into jeopardy. And that is why the beautiful work both of you are doing at the African Institute of Public Health is quite commendable.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's begin our conversation this morning, especially coming from you, Dr. Ayodele. It's really kind of a challenge when you see people who should be able to get medical services unable to access it, either due to lack of funds or the mere fact that the facilities that should offer these medical services are far from them. And so, my question this morning is centered around understanding what universal health coverage is about. So let me ask, what does it mean, and how does universal health coverage tie to the SDG Goal 3?
Fine. Thank you very much. Talking about universal coverage, uh, we are saying making health services available to everybody uh, in the country, you know, without financial hardship or encumbrance,
Yes.
for everybody to be able to access health services. I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, at the African Institute of Public Health Professionals, you guys brainstorm. You do a lot of thinking, you do a lot of testing of hypotheses, trying to create theories to see what model would best capture this definition of, or this explanation that Dr. Ayodele has given us about the universal health coverage. And in this regard, you have a colloquium coming up. And now I would like to hear from Beta. Uh, Tell us more about this colloquium and why do you feel it should happen now, given the fact that we are having a challenge in attaining this universal health coverage?
All right. Thank you very much. The colloquium will be coming up on the 24th of September
Okay.
at the Merit House. I think I should use this opportunity to invite the general public
Okay.
to be there.
All right.
And the theme we are considering is the attainment of universal health coverage in Africa by the year 2030.
Oh, that's less than
Yeah.
6 years from now.
So we are asking a question if it's a might or is going to be a reality.
Okay.
That's the question we are asking. So I think the theme is apt.
Okay.
It's very necessary and it's even very important looking at the time frame. 2030 is just barely 6 years.
Yes, that's what I.
From now. And then when we are 2020, we think 2030 rather, is still very far. It's barely 6 years from now. So we have to keep talking about it if we actually want to make it a reality in Africa, considering the challenges that we are faced with in the health sector in Africa, talking about brain drain and the rest of it. So it's something that we have to keep talking about. It's every citizen's right in Africa to have access to quality health care with or without financial burden, or sorry, without financial burden rather. So we have to keep talking about it. So our leaders will hear and they will start acting towards that. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. It's interesting how you coined this particular theme for this colloquium that's coming up. But now let me quickly ask Dr. Bankole. We are having a challenge with how our policies are designed. So, the people in our health sector, how do you feel? What will be your advice to policymakers in as regards designing policies that should help us attain this universal health coverage? Like Betta mentioned, she said something about the fact that we need to keep talking about it, and if we begin to walk the talk, then it's going to be realizable. Now, the people who would actually do this work are our policymakers. If, as she said, the allocation to health is given the due consideration and increased, we might be able to meet it. So let's share some of your thoughts as regards what you think our policymakers should be doing in designing policies for health
Yes, thank
coverage.
you very much. Uh, it has been a great concern to us, health professionals across the continent of Africa. The irresponsible attitude of most of the leaders, especially in sub-Saharan African countries, towards health sector. Like I always say, uh, a leader or a country that is serious about health will not budget 4%, 3% to health sector. It was in Abuja here that the declaration was made in 2001. 54 countries in Africa agreed that 14%, sorry, 15% should be budgeted to health sector. But what do we have now?
Hmm.
It's so unfortunate that most of the country they don't go by the declaration. We only have three countries in Africa. We have Eritrea, we have Mauritius, we have Seychelles that have been able to meet this benchmark. And of course, when you look at the problem of brain drain, as she rightly mentioned, is one of brain drain in the health sector, as she mentioned, is one of the serious problems in the health sector. We train most of our health workers, but what we have in return, they, they leave the country in search of greener pasture. And of course, like I always say, they are not missionary. Uh, they need to live a better life. And when you look at the issue of IDP too, it's one of the problems to attaining the universal health coverage. Let's talk about Sudan. Sudan has over 9 million in IDP camp.
Hmm.
Yes, the worst in the world, more than the crisis region of Afghanistan. You know. And of course, we know the health challenges in
Camps.
the camp, both communicable and non-communicable diseases. You know. And of course, coming down home here in Nigeria, uh, the statistics shows that we are having 2.4, if I'm not mistaken, in the hybrid economy. So, the policymaker, when it comes to budgetary allocation, when it comes to retaining the retention of health workers, uh, we need to look critically into that.
Okay. For us to be appreciated over there, it means the quality of our teaching and learning here for our medical doctors is good, and how we practice is exceptional and commendable. But how do we now stop this brain drain?
Well,
If we are to attain the universal health coverage we're talking about, we need to provide solution to the brain drain issue.
okay, so there are several ways that brain drain can be stopped,
Okay.
or even if it's not stopped completely, because you won't force people to live the life they desire to live. Even after they have gained education in a particular country, they decide to live, they will live. But ways we can actually retain brain drain, or strategies to retain brain drain in Africa, is first, our leaders, African leaders, have to provide an enabling environment for healthcare workers to thrive. Like you mentioned, your friend is coming all the way from Suleja to National Hospital
Yes.
in town. So you can imagine the distance and then the number of hours he has to spend on the road. By the time he gets to the hospital, he's already exhausted. So what energy will he now use to attend to patients in the hospital? So they should provide an enabling environment for them to thrive by at least giving them a housing scheme in town, especially close to. I remember before now, there used to be doctors' quarters
Yes.
in
The
hospitals.
hospitals.
So they don't even need to drive to the office. And whenever you call them, they will just go to the clinic and attend to patients. But imagine somebody that has to come all the way from Suleja. He may not even come. And he may even end up switching off his phone because of security issue. That is not guaranteed for him. A few weeks ago, we heard on air that some doctors were kidnapped. So they are also humans, even though they are professionals, they are also humans. And then there should be an increase in their incentives, increase in salary. They need to be appreciated and encouraged to go about their jobs as healthcare professionals. I'm not talking about just medical doctors now. I'm talking about the pharmacists, nurses, dentists, medical doctors, and even public health professionals, because these people are very important people in our society. Thank
Exactly.
you.
There's so much that we can look at and discuss, especially as we are talking about universal health coverage for all by the year 2030. I love the fact that the target set for us to attain this is just 6 years away. So it's a call to action for everybody. You, me, all of us, we need to just put on our thinking cap, ensure that we are making the right moves and efforts to see that by 2030, there's universal coverage for all. I share in the optimism that you've expressed better. And thank you so much, Dr. Ayodele, for bringing your expertise and professionalism from the African Institute of Public Health professionals to see to it that health is not one of the challenges that Africans should bother about. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Attaining universal health coverage by the year 2030 is the target that has been set by the professionals from the African Institute of Public Health Professionals, led this morning by Dr. Bankole. And of course, we have Beta Wakwe also with us. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so let's quickly go on this very short break. I'm sure the colloquium is one you make time to attend, given the fact that Beta has already made a public invitation to everyone. So please go there, make your contributions, or learn from the people who are making contributions, and let's do this together. Let's go on this very short break. The program is still Good Morning Abuja, and there's a lot more coming on the show. Welcome back from that break. The program is still Good Morning Abuja, and I am about to have a very interesting conversation. Interesting in the sense that perhaps every statement I make, every sentence I make would be checked for grammatical errors and pronunciation defects, and that makes me super nervous. You know what it's like when you sit with your teacher and get tutored once again, even after leaving the classroom a long time ago. This morning, I have the one I'll describe first as a teacher, the person of Professor Gabriel Igbe, the chairman, English Language Teachers Association of Nigeria, and also that is of the Abuja chapter, and he's also the provost of the postgraduate school Veritas University, Abuja. Good morning, and thank you for coming on the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Labaran.
Yes, I said you're a teacher first because that is what you are. You've been impacting this knowledge for a very long time. And for some of us who have had the chance of listening to you, we know we have to check our diction, our pronunciations when we are around you. Worse is if you have to write him something and your I's and T's are not dotted or properly crossed, you'll come under fire. It's a pleasure having you here in the studio this morning, sir.
Thank you very much, Labaran.
Yeah, so teaching English language is so much fun. Yeah, it carries a lot of challenges, and it's worthy to note that English language is the official lingua franca of the Nigerian country. That is the Nigerian nation. So, let's share your thoughts now. What, in your opinion, has been your experience like teaching English language, challenges, and the parts you've enjoyed the most?
Okay, thank you so much for this privilege. Let me start by saying that in the context of Nigeria,
Yes.
English can be a little bit problematic
Oh, yes, it told me.
because we are confronted with what I would call different Englishes. Now we have the British English,
Yes.
we have the American English, then we have the Nigerian English.
Yes.
So sometimes you ask yourself, which English? But for the sake of the senior secondary school examination, WAEC, NECO, and all of those, they will write to prefer British English, even though they also allow room for American English.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're grading SS3 scripts for WAEC or NECO, they will tell you if the student is using American English, let it be consistent. If he's using a British English, let it be consistent, not to mix the two.
But there's no consideration for Nigerian English.
That's where I'm coming to that point. Yes, there is no. They always say if you have such expressions, you just underline it. You don't really penalize it as such. You just underline it as maybe some kind of stylistic use of language.
Okay.
Yeah, but some of us, like I am in particular, I'm advocating for the use of Nigerian English.
Wonderful.
Because that English has come and has become a variety of English recognized in what we call the continuum of world Englishes. So Nigerian English is a variety of its own and should not be played down or looked down as if it's an inferior variety to either American English or British English or national English. So I think that the time has come because we have used English to a point where Nigerian English is an accepted variety. And I think we should begin to rethink what English to use in Nigeria and recognize that variety as valid.
Yes.
And promote it.
I am 100% for you, Prof, because when we look at it, considering the fact that across the world today, celebrities, people from outside our own country, our continent, are beginning to identify with our English because they find it fascinating and they are able to express themselves more. There's a way you express yourself in the Nigerian English context that if you intend to do it in the British English, you will not be able to do justice to how you're feeling at that moment. So in this case, we'd like to say kudos to our entertainers, our musicians, performers, artists, and our footballers. We see big football teams like Galatasaray, Napoli, and the rest of them even tweeting in broken English, or what we call pidgin English. Well, let's move on with the interview. Your association, now I'm talking about the Association of Nigeria, that is the English Language Teachers Association of Nigeria. You recently, in partnership with the British Council, came up and started advocating for the use of ICT in English language teaching.
Right.
Yes, especially in the classrooms. So share with us your thoughts about the use of ICT in teaching English language.
Yes. Yeah, that conference was held at the Federal University Lafayette
Okay.
to really bring to the focus the need to leverage technology in the teaching of English. The fact remains that the world has moved from being paper-based,
Analog.
print-based, to digital.
Yes.
And so any teacher or learner who is not moving in that direction will be left behind. And so that was why the theme of the conference had to dwell on those aspects of technological use in teaching English. Let's say that when you talk about technological advancement, there are so many facets of it. Are you talking about the apps that you need to use? Are you talking about the technology itself? Are you talking about the devices itself? So it's a vast area. So let's take it that, for example, let me take it as a case for WAEC. WAEC does what they call test of orals, which is supposed to be an oral examination.
Yes.
But what happens? The examination is written.
Yes.
So as if they are checking how you're able to recognize phonetic symbols. But the exam is supposed to be an exam that you test your oral use of language.
Exactly.
So I expect why, for example, with the new technology, only your phone you have can do voice notes and all of those things. If it's the issue of infrastructure and logistics that had made them stop that use of orals, they should go back. Because it's not possible to examine a student online using the voice notes, and you're able to actually test whether this child can use intonation properly, can use stress properly, and can articulate the sounds of English properly, rather than reducing it to a writing exam, whereas it should have been an oral exam.
Exactly.
So I think that way, technology has become an instrument that we cannot avoid in ensuring that we teach oral English properly.
Next question is talking about gamification and its importance in teaching English language. You understand? Now, some teachers, some students find certain teachers super amazing. And if you look deep, it's not just about the qualifications they carry as teachers, it's also about how they are able to express the teaching in a manner that is easily understood by the students. Now, my own daughter, she has a teacher she loves so much because she says the teacher gives them stickers. And when the teacher is giving you a sticker, if you do very well, the teacher will dance for you.
Oh, great.
Yes, and so she looks forward to that teacher dancing for her. So she always wants to do well.
Great.
Now let's talk about gamification in the English language teaching. How important is it?
Okay, let me make a clarification here because I've just finished supervising one of my MA students who is using gamification as a way of teaching English language in Nigeria.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about gamification, we're not really talking about games
Yes.
per se.
Yes.
We're talking about the use of game theory
Yes.
in language teaching.
Yes.
Okay, and it goes to show what you're talking about. Use stickers, use points,
Yes.
use we can even a thumbs up, a thumbs down.
Yes.
These are what
Simple gestures.
Yes, and so one of the key things about even digital teaching is what we call student engagement and motivation. If students are not engaged, they can't be motivated. And if students are not motivated, they can't be engaged.
We're running out of time, but I need to ask you this question because it's very important. Now, let us look at this the SDG goals and how they can be integrated into English language teaching very quickly.
Oh, in fact, while I was still the provost of the postgraduate school, we had a policy in our board meeting that any research in various universities at the postgraduate level that does not contain an aspect of the SDG, that project cannot go through.
Amazing.
So you must integrate whatever you are researching on to any of the 17 SDG goals, because that's where you are solving problems. So, for example, one of the research we just did is how do we use language learning in the context of Nigeria? How is it relevant in the SDGs?
Yes.
So we ask our question, the question is, does language matter in achieving the SDG? And we say language matters in achieving the SDG. And my students go through the process of showing how language matters in achieving quality education, zero hunger, and all other goals that are captured in the SDG. And they have found it very enriching. They now see that the English they are studying is not just for English sake, but that English can solve real life problems.
Let me just ask you this final question because I'm enjoying our conversation so far.
Okay.
What do you think can be done, either from the government side or from NGOs or anybody, or even universities like yours, in solving the challenges of teaching English language and students understanding the teaching of English language?
Okay. So I would say that one of the things I think from the perspective of the teachers is that teachers must overcome technophobia.
Okay.
That technology has come to stay. It has come to make our work easier, less stressful, and more exciting and interesting. So we must embrace technology in the teaching of English.
Okay.
I also think that at the national level, we need to open this conversation. And that conversation should be around recognizing and respecting that there is Nigerian English. And that English should be promoted.
That is very
In fact, in our association, what we call the English Association of Nigeria, we are making a lot of effort in drumming it that English language is not just about. There are Nigerians who speak English only. They don't speak any other language except English.
Yes.
In other words, they are what we may call native speakers of English.
Yes.
Because that English is their first language. So we must promote Nigerian English.
That's true.
As a policy statement and policy direction.
Okay.
Also, institutions must accept to provide the infrastructure and the technical skill needed to embed technology and integrate it in language teaching.
Wonderful.
And I think that the learners must find a way to find out, why am I studying English? English is not just because you want to speak Queen's English or want to speak nicely, but language is an instrument for development.
Exactly.
And if you have a quality language, your thinking is also quality. You're able to see things from different perspectives and deepen your understanding, and that is what will bring about development of society.
Amazing. The uses of English language is multifaceted. Aside being a means of communication, it could be the vehicle that translates ideas to change, to realities. When we have, say, for example, a drug in the market that could treat a particular ailment, and then we have a community who is suffering from that ailment. If the language to communicate the drug and the people is not there, then it becomes a problem. It's as if all the research and bringing about that drug has been done in futility. So therefore, English language being our own lingua franca here in Nigeria as a means of change and growth is something that we must encourage, especially in Nigerian English. I am strongly for that. The Americans took the English from the British and made it their own. They domesticated it. So why can't ours be accepted? I mean, I don't get it that that was my own Nigerian English there getting infused into it. The program is still Good Morning Abuja, but shortly before we go, let me quickly thank Professor Gabriel Egbe, who is the Chairman, English Language Teachers Association of Nigeria, for coming. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Labaran.
We look forward to getting more lessons from you on English language.
My pleasure, anytime.
Yes, sir. So please, we'll quickly go on a short break now. Trust me, I'm busting to speak more English, but let's just go on this short break. Welcome back. The program is still Good Morning Abuja, and let's discuss something sweet this morning. When I said something sweet, I know you're wondering what I mean, but when you think about something sweet, what comes to mind? Is there anything as sweet as honey? I doubt there is, because if you check honey, you taste honey, you just understand that God is truly amazing. Like, how did this come about? The bees who make nectar, how do they make them? Fascinating things about the bees. That means God have created these bees must be. How do we describe God now? I am lacking the words to describe God. But then let's look at those people who have taken it as their own service to mankind, their own service to humanity, by tending to these bees and collecting this nectar. I'm talking about the beekeepers in our society. This morning, we are spotlighting Chiamaka Precious Orji, who is a beekeeper. Good morning. Hello. Good sweet morning to you. A very honeycious morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Yes, and if you look at our table, you can see we have two bottles of honey. Trust me, I tasted them before we started this program. And if you put this to a very nice cup of coffee or tea this morning, you'll be feeling as excited as I'm feeling. Thank you for coming on the show, Chiamaka.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let me just ask you some questions off heart because I'm feeling so motivated by the fact that you are a beekeeper.
Wow.
Like at first when I said, they know they bite you. How you think they do? But let me just go straight and ask, what inspired you to venture into this line of business? Like, why would somebody just want to go stir up the bee's nest?
First of all, I'm very enthusiastic about nature. I love nature.
Wonderful,
I
wonderful.
love anything nature.
Hmm.
So at first, I first learned about beekeeping in Abuja. I
Wow.
met someone who's into beekeeping, Mr. Ayo Kande, and since
Oh.
then I've been learning. Like I still remember the first time I went to see the bees in the farm. I was so excited. I didn't even know where all the joy was coming from. I loved working with the bees, and since then I decided to do beekeeping. I even
Wow.
dedicated my time to start saving the bees.
Wow.
Yes.
Ah, I'm so inspired by the passion you have for these bees and talking about the importance of bees. Share with us one or two roles they play in balancing the ecosystem.
The bees are very important for pollination. Even Albert Einstein said it that without bees, all living things are going to die after some time.
Wow.
Why? Because bees make up 70% of pollinators. So without bees, there will be no pollination, and most of the crops that bees pollinate will die.
Hmm.
And after some time, it also affect the animals and then humans. And before you know it, humans won't even have oxygen after some time.
Please, you people
So you
should
can see how important the bees are.
join hand. Let us join hand together with Chiamaka and make sure that the bees, nothing happens to them. Oh,
Yes, we
because
have to keep the environment very safe for bees.
yes, bees are very important. First task on our agenda this morning, cater for the bees, and all day, all week, every day for the rest of our lives. Thank you, Chiaga, for the wonderful job you're doing in caring for these bees. And you see, in caring for the bees bless us in return with honey. So let's talk about honey now. You know, people talk about honey and they just think it's just something you dip into your food and just enjoy. You're not seeing the nutritional and even the economical value of honey. So share with us your experiences in this area. The honey you collect from these bees. What benefit has it been to you and your immediate environment?
So firstly, honey has so many health benefits. It's antibacterial, it's antioxidant,
Hmm.
it has antimicrobial properties. So even with honey, honey can cure cough. Because I can remember there's a time I had serious cough. So I just drank a cup of honey with hot water, and the next morning I was fine.
Wow.
Yes. So I can say that honey is even more effective than most cough syrup.
Hmm.
So health wise, honey is very beneficial. And when you talk about the economic benefits, there are so much because from the bees, bees don't only produce honey, they produce beeswax, royal
Yes.
jelly, pollen, which is even more expensive than the
Honey
honey
itself.
itself.
Wow.
Because from the beeswax, you can produce cosmetics and shoe polish
Wow. 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 So
and
you
furniture
see,
polish too, just from the bees.
that's Moby.
Yes, just from the bees.
See all the things we get from that small bee. Amazing. But you know, there are people like us that have encountered bees and we've been stung by bees one or two times. So as small as it is, once we see it, we run helter skelter the other direction. So for people like me now that carry this phobia when it comes to bees and all of that, what would you say to me to encourage me to want to venture into caring for bees and taking this as a form of business?
So if you want to go into beekeeping, first of all, you can make a lot of money from beekeeping.
Wow.
And it doesn't even, it's not capital intensive.
Hmm.
Yes, you can start small and grow big just within a year.
So now, Chiamaka, you're a beekeeper. You keep bees until you get honey. What other things, products do you think comes from honey? And do you get the market to sell these things, showcase these things?
There's a lot of other products that come from honey.
Okay.
Like there's
beeswax,
Okay.
there's propolis,
Okay.
there's royal jelly, which is even more expensive than the honey itself. And
Okay.
there's a lot of markets because with honey, you have a lot of market. You don't even have to stress yourself to find buyers because there's always people looking for those products. And
Okay.
there's also an organic and natural expo coming up in Dubai this November.
Okay.
So all the farmers or anybody that has an organic product are expected to attend. And we
Okay.
are going under the Nigerian pavilion to
Okay.
Dubai this November. So it's also very affordable for
Wow.
anybody that is interested.
Okay, so when you have products like the bee wax, all of those things that you've organically made, are not limited to only things that come
No,
from bee.
yeah,
You
no.
you have a platform for that.
Yes, we do.
As far away as Dubai. That's amazing. That's exporting what we have locally, internationally.
Yeah.
Amazing. So now let's talk about the environment, the bee. Let me ask first. If I intend to keep bees, must I go to the bush?
Yes.
I have to go to the bush.
Yes, you have to go to the bush. Yes.
Okay.
Unless
So
you have the money, then you can get someone to go to the bush for you.
okay. So there's another angle. You can actually pay someone to go to the bush for you. So I have to thank you first, and then I want to ask you that okay, beekeeping aside the challenges that you mentioned and everything, what particularly would you point at and say this is basically one of the things that is restraining us from achieving the total benefits of beekeeping in our society?
First of all, we have a lot of challenges in beekeeping, such as deforestation.
Mm-hmm.
But the most difficult challenges that most beekeepers have been facing is that of vandalism, yes,
Vandalism.
and theft of beehives.
They steal them?
Yes, it's sweet, so and it's expensive, so they still.
Oh, that's true. Sweet. So people steal sweet things. They go steal the bee. Don't the bee stings them when they go there to do that?
And they have their ways now. They can just burn it and take the honey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, now I understand. Well, the program is Good Morning Abuja. We've been having an interesting conversation. If you're a bee stealer, well, just know you're not any friend of ours this morning. We don't like you. We want you to officially know that bees are innocent. They do a lot of things for us. Why should you steal them? Why should you kill them? Stop burning them. Go make your own hive. It's not that expensive to do, and it's there in the forest. So please stop it. We don't want that. And thank you so much for coming, Chiamaka. We want to encourage you to continue on this path. You're doing not just a service to our dear country, Nigeria. You're doing a service to the environment and ensuring that the ecosystem is in balance. So thank you, and we look forward to enjoying more honey related products that will come from what you are doing, which is making magic happen by bringing us the honeys from these bees. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yes, the program is still Good Morning Abuja. Let's go on this very short break. We've been speaking with Chiamaka and we've been talking about beekeeping as a form of business. And she has shared with us some of the amazing qualities of these bees and the honey, bee wax, and all we get from it. And all of this are things that help us get by with life. And we want to truly appreciate her services and, of course, thank her for it. Well, let's take this short break. It's still Good Morning Abuja. Don't go anywhere.